This is always the same.
Okay, so I will take a note. It's telehealth today.
We are live.
Okay, awesome. And then let me just start the recording. Oh, and before I start the recording, is it Zinzile?
So you can call me Zinzile or Z, whichever is easier for you.
I like Z. Okay, okay. Very good, very good. All right, here we go. Welcome everybody to another Monday morning meeting with TeleHealth today. I'm James Hongs, the founder, and today we have a special guest who is a VA, but more than just a VA, and she does more than a virtual assistant, and she's going to have a good presentation showing everybody what you could expect if you book with her on the website and how she can help business owners or entrepreneurs and accomplish things more than a regular VA would. So it is my pleasure to introduce you. A woman goes by the name of Z. Welcome, Z. The stage is yours. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, James, and thank you, Coach Rana. Thank you so much, guys. And to everyone out there, thank you so much for coming through. If you're going to watch the replay, thank you again for tuning in. So my name is Zinzile, but people prefer calling me Z. And I'm based in Zimbabwe, which is in Southern Africa. And so for today, I'm just going to walk you guys briefly about my background, how I came into being a VA. I was not always a VA, and what really inspired me to get into this path and how I'm actually helping the clients that I work with. So yes, so without wasting much time, I'm going to share my screen as I walk you through my journey. Okay, so start off, I am Zinzile, as I've said, and as James said, I love saying that I'm not just a VA, I'm more than a VA. And the reason why I say that is because as you work with different people, you tend to see more of what you can do. And so instead of just being a task taker, I find that I am very curious. I tend to do more than is asked for me. And actually, it's my clients. My clients always tell me they feel like they're working with a partner instead of a VA. And so that's how I came about like to be saying that I am actually more than a VA. I'm like a strategic partner, and I walk like step by step by you as you run your business every day. So let's start. So I'm going to start off briefly just sharing about myself, my journey, and how I came to being a VA. So prior to being a VA, I used to be an HR and administrator at a local microfinance. And during that period, I started work around 2018. I graduated from college in 2016. And so this was like my first role after college. And so post-pandemic, the economy as well in the country was really not doing well. It was a tough space. And then the pandemic hit. And then post the pandemic now, the company wasn't doing so well as well. And during that time, the company started retrenching people until it got to a point that we finally closed the doors of the organization. And that was in 2022, post-COVID. And so after that time, I really didn't feel so motivated to look for another job. Why? In Zimbabwe, there's a high unemployment rate. And because of that, your value tends to be linked to the monetary, like your compensation. You're not really valued for the skills that you bring, for the transformation that you bring in the organizations that you serve. And so that alone made me feel demotivated to actually start job hunting, as I was also afraid, would this company close down again? Would I go through the whole process of being retrenched? And so it was during that time that I came across this advert of being a virtual assistant. I've heard about it before, but I'd never really like done thorough research. And so I came across this advert from ALX Africa. It's funded by MasterCard Foundation, and they teach a lot of like tech-related courses. And so that's when I registered for the VA course. And what really motivated me to go for the VA course, it was because it promised just transferring my skills to being able to work with people in remote places. And so that's how I got into it. It wasn't a path that I really like planned out and said, I want to become a VA. It's a path that I got into because I was curious. And I was like, okay, let me see how I can transfer my 5 years of admin background, HR, and see where it leads me. And so since 2022, it's been 2 years now since I've become a VA. And I think so far, I've been enjoying the journey, and I think I attribute a greater portion of it because of my personality type. I am an INFJ personality, and people with my type of personality tend to be people that really crave connection. I'm someone who craves connection. So when I'm working, even with clients, I don't treat them just as a client. I tend to really connect with their vision, where they're going, how did their business start, what's the goal of the vision. And that really, really helps me to be able to support them in the way that they really love. And so I'm really grateful. And as well, I really strive in seeing people really like meet their goals. I feel fulfilled, if I could say. I think the better word is fulfilled. Being able to see someone reach their goals, reach their full potential. I feel fulfilled doing that. And I think it's because even prior to taking on this path, when I just finished high school, I was a teaching assistant. And so from being a teaching assistant, I've always strived in helping people, whether it's from students. And when I went to the corporate world, being that person who's coordinating stuff from each of my colleagues, my team members. So all that has been like building onto me. It's been like a step-by-step process, such that now, as I'm now a VA, it's kind of like easier for me to work with different people from different cultures and different like businesses. Because as a VA, your work is not only confined to just one industry, depending on how you really want to work. So moving along, I just want us to go like a brief background to say what is really the key thing that we do as a VA? What is the problem that I really solve for the people that I work with? So the challenge that most of the clients that I work with, or generally business owners that we see today, what we realize is that most people, because post-pandemic, we find that a lot of companies, organizations, they're retrenching people. And so a lot of people now strive on being their own bosses. They want to work for themselves. They want to have like something that they can leave for their family, because one challenge now with most people that they feel is when they get retrenched, sometimes their packages are not enough to really like enable them to pursue their dreams and what they want, like a future for their families. And so most people would rather say, even if they're employed, they'll rather have their own business that they're building by the side. And now what we realize is that whilst you're running your business, as much as you started that business with so much passion, dedication, sometimes it takes a toll on you, because whilst you're constantly like chasing success, because most people, they feel fulfilled when their businesses are success. And we all know that success means different things for different people. For some people, success means hitting 6 figures. For some people, success means they get more time with their families. They get to be able to get the finance they get from their business to be able to pursue their other dreams, their hobbies and interests. But what we notice is that the demands of running a successful company often means that sometimes you have to sacrifice a bit of time, especially the family time, and the time that you spend, the self-care, like literally taking care of yourself, meditating, going to the gym. I find that as well, including clients that I work with, they tend to sacrifice that time because the business demands a lot from them. And I would say the reason why you find in our age that the business demands a lot from people is because of the competitive nature of the environment that we live in. You know, there's something new that's coming up with AI. There's so many tools. You know, marketing is changing at a fast pace. So business owners are constantly working so hard to be able to tap into all those areas. And so family time, self-care, hobbies and interests, or even going for a vacation ends up going like at the bottom list, and they're not able to find themselves being able to commit to all those other areas of their lives. And so that's where we come in as virtual assistants. Because once you have like your head like lodged into the different parts of your business, sometimes it's actually hard to be able to see like the strategic direction of a business. Where is my business going? Because you're always like dealing with the admin, you're chasing invoices, you're chasing what to do with marketing. And when you're starting something new, what most people don't realize is that the finances are tied into the investment. So it's kind of hard to actually have a full-blown team when you're starting out, especially if you're at the early stages of like your venture. So for most people, they tend to be like self-employed or solopreneurs, and they outsource like some of the work to vendors, but the day-to-day running on the business is all on them. So this forces like most of the people that I work with to actually spend a lot of like long hours. And working long hours, I think we can all agree that it really increases the risk of you experiencing like health conditions that are not favorable. And so from a research actually that I found, it was a meta-analysis that was done, and it found that 25% of like the health outcomes actually lead to like 45% health related issues. And it's not only physical, it can also be mental, and it can also be behavioral. So sometimes working for long hours, it leads to stress, and stress usually leads to burnt out. But most people never realize that burnt out until we're actually seeing the effects of them complaining about headaches, insomnia, anxiety. And so those are some of the health related issues that most people face when they tend to overcommit long hours. And the reason why most people, I would say, commit those long hours is because most people feel they're being productive. You know, everyone is talking like they're working 24/7, there's a hustle culture. And so all that just builds out on people, and they tend to really work long hours, and they sacrifice their health in the process. And so one of the key things I would say, the key things that really lead to that overwhelming someone is that when you work long hours, you tend to then feel burnt out and exhausted. And when you're burnt out and exhausted, it becomes really hard for you to really become innovative, to think of new ideas, to think of new software to introduce, because you're already feeling like it's draining for you to come to your business every day. You're already feeling strained. And when you're feeling strained, there's little room for creativity and innovation. And ultimately, that really leads to reduced motivation and engagement. And so at that point, it's the point where I usually, when I'm having like a discovery call with clients, where I say, it's at that moment where you feel you really need a helping hand. And I realize most people tend to not want a helping hand, especially with solopreneurs, because they feel it reduces their role of being a solopreneur. But I like saying, having an extra pair of hands doesn't mean that your role as a solopreneur is diminished. Instead, it gives you more freedom, and it gives you more capacity to actually drive the business forward. And then one of the things that people tend to not realize is when you work for long hours and you're strained, it doesn't only affect you and your business, it also affects your family, affects the people around you. And so that is why I think it's very key at that moment when you feel like you're overwhelmed and you can't take more, to be open to taking an extra hand, whether it's from your wife, your friends, or seeking out a VA. And so my advice would be plan to have a VA before you actually need one. I think that is the best way to actually make sure that you're not burnt out, like until you feel like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Let me stop. So continuing on, I also discovered that most solopreneurs, most business owners, they tend to work on weekends, they tend to work on holidays, they actually take at least one vacation for the lucky ones. Some don't even have that time to take a vacation because if they take a vacation, everything is on hold. So I will also share this for those that are also interested to learn more about the effects of working for a very long time without giving yourself time to focus on you. So how can I help as a VA? So how I can help as a VA is I enable you to get more of your time. And more of your time doesn't mean more of your time of you not doing anything. It's more of your time to be able to actually think of coming up with strategies to focus on your business. Where do you want to take your business? Do you want to have more calls where you're meeting more investors? Do you want to have more calls where you're meeting up with partners? So working with me as a VA or any other person as a VA will really enable you to have like a more manageable schedule. You're able to have someone manage your schedule, someone to actually create the free time for you. Because I know when you're handling your own schedule, sometimes it's kind of hard to give yourself free time. But when you give the reins to someone else to manage the schedule, it will actually make it manageable, and you'll find that you'll be less strained. You'll be less strained and be able to commit more of your time to the areas that really need more of your talent. And another advantage actually of having an extra pair of hands or working with me is that it puts a less strain on your budget. I know for more people, when you have full-time employees, there's so much you have to think of as well, like pension, taxes. But when you actually like subcontract with a VA, you only pay for the number of hours you need them. Or you can have a retainer package where you're paying a certain fixed figure per month for the amount of hours that come in to help you. So they're coming in to take over those day-to-day, like menial tasks like email management, calendar management, helping you book calls, maybe with prospects. They can also help you with lead generation. So there's so much, that you can delegate to a VA. So my advice is always, before you engage a VA, build a list, take note of the time, everything that you do, write it down on a paper. If you're a pen and paper, write it down, take note of everything that you do, and then prioritize, see which tasks need you and which tasks don't really need much of you. And for those tasks that you feel someone else can do and the repetitive, delegate them to someone else that can do them. And it will really help you become like the key person of your business, because now you're able to grow your business. You're able to actually scale, because some people don't really want to become like a big corporation. They want to remain small, but be able to triple their profits. So working with someone who's able to take on the admin task for you, who's able to help you do the prospecting for you, can actually help you scale at a faster pace than trying to do everything by yourself. And so focusing on me, what do I really help my core services? So the core services that I usually help my clients with is day-to-day admin support. But what I've come to understand is that day-to-day admin support differs from one solopreneur or one business owner to another. When you are dealing with a coach, their type of admin support can be specific to them as compared when you're working with a creative director, you're working with a doctor. they're working with a lawyer, their type of admin support really differs. Or if it's someone in real estate, their admin support differs. But generally, the standard with day-to-day admin support is basically calendar management, email management, organizing the drives, building up the SOPs. And then if it's for people that are speakers, like coaches, most of them tend to need help with actually researching speaking engagements, applying for those speaking engagements. And for some people that are traveling up and down, they really need help with travel research and planning. So the list really goes on and on. It's really tailor-made to an individual's needs and what they need for their business or what kind of admin support they need. And then for those people that love LinkedIn, where they feel that's where they get the bulk of their clients, I also provide LinkedIn account management. So it goes from creating content to ads management, to prospecting and lead generation, community building, and actually carrying out outreach campaigns with the clients. So those are like the core pillars of the services that I can support you with. And if you feel this is an area where you need support or help with, feel free as well to reach out or visit the website, TeleHealth Today, and you'll be able to see my profile there as well. So the process, how do you get to work with me? So in the event that you feel like the services or the support you need aligns with what I offer, simply you book a discovery call. So I think you're allowed like at least firstly a consultation call, but you have to go through the telehealth platform as well. And then afterwards, you'd have to book a discovery call with me. You choose a package based on your needs, and then we get to work together. So who are some of the people I've worked with? I've worked with Zach. I've worked with Zach. He was also my coach, and as well, I've also worked with him as a VA as well. And I've also worked with people who are business analysts, and the second people you see is Vivian. And I've also worked with coaches, especially people that come from an autistic background or people who have like challenges, especially when it comes to handling their work and social media. Those tend to be the people I also like connect with. So if that feels like you or that screams that that's you, feel free to reach out. So these are some of the platforms and tools that we use, not limited to these only, but these are some of the tools I find that my clients used, whether it's marketing, admin, social media, or basically research. These are some of the tools that we use. So yeah, so I think I've come to the end of my presentation. Feel free to send any questions, or if you want any more information, feel free to reach out. Thank you. I hand back over to James.
Thank you. That was good.
Thank you.
Yeah. You touched on some different things that caught my attention. Like one of them was how entrepreneurs can sacrifice themselves. You know, in my growth, I found myself going to the gym less, putting on like 30 pounds, and I had to switch that all around. That wasn't easy, but yeah, no, it's I like what you're saying. So okay, just to ask you a question. So so basically during that discovery call, you talk to someone, you find out what their needs are, you tell them what your capabilities are of helping, and then you just create a tailor-fitted plan for that individual after they book with you. Is that right?
Exactly. That's how I do it. So prior to booking the discovery call, there are a few questions that will be there, maybe 3 questions that they answer. So it helps me already know what their need is prior to the call. And then we have the discovery call, and then I create a package tailored to their needs.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And what is your ballpark of pricing or price points, or how do you like to charge per hour, I assume, or is it a plan or?
Okay. So for day-to-day admin support for some like short-term projects, it's $15 an hour. And then for some people that's continuous support like LinkedIn account management, I create packages. They actually have packages they can choose from. So it's like normally like in tiers, like a standard and then a premium and a platinum. So it comes in twos, an hourly rate and packages for continuous work.
Nice. And what can you give us an example of one time where you just nailed it out of the park, or you really helped someone, or just a cool story of like you got involved and helped? Yeah.
Okay, so I recently worked with a client. He was autistic, and it was my first time actually working with someone with that background. So he had prior told me that he struggles with concentration. So when he concentrates, he really concentrates on one task that he loves. So I remember it was mostly related to LinkedIn account management. We wanted to build out an outreach campaign because they wanted to fill out their workshop. And so I had to start from scratch because they were new to LinkedIn. They didn't like LinkedIn that much. They're coming from Twitter. And because I've been on LinkedIn for a while, it was easier for me. So I had to start from scratch, from helping them build out the community, start connecting. And so the way to fill their workshop, the strategy I used was he needed to have like weekly audio events to get people to know him, to get people to be familiarized with his products, his coaching courses and his programs. So I would help him like implement from planning to actually building out the audio events, like manually inviting people. And then as we filled out the audio events, it was easy then to drive the traffic to actually his workshops because people were familiar with them. And so I was happy because then he was able to actually launch his workshop and he was able to meet the target that he had wanted for his sessions. And so I think that was one project that I was happy to take over from start to end. And the fact that he was happy that he was able to fill out his workshop, it also made me feel happy to say, okay, I'm glad I really played a part in that role.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a good story. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I also like the story, and it shows that you're right there on telehealth today. It's really good that we have people like you there, right? Because many people think health is only physical health or mental health, but it's all of our life, right? And if you have a health issue, you need help in business, you need help in many things. And to be honest, everybody has a health issue in one part or the other, right? And we need also support as for our businesses, right? And so I think that's really perfect, and this was our idea, right? That we have support in all different fields. And so my question would continue in that direction. I mean, you said a little bit about this already in your presentation. What are the main alerts, or when should you start with a virtual assistant if you're a business owner? Is there certain revenue you need, a yearly revenue, and maybe you say after I don't know, 20,000 per year or 50,000 per year or 100,000 a year, you need a virtual assistant, or you should not start before because it's not healthy for your business if you have the expenses. So when is the right start point to reach out to you or people like you and really considering recruiting a VA? What do you think? What is the best point in a business lifetime to start with a VA?
Okay, so from my own personal experience, I find that the best time to actually for you to start thinking of a VA is, I feel if you're a solopreneur, have that at the back of your hand. You're gonna need a VA at one point in time. But the best way before you even get a VA is to set maybe a budget aside, whether it's $10 a month, right? $10 a month. And then you will realize that you need a VA as you want to scale. Because as a business, you're going to have different projects you're working on, right? And so because you want to prioritize family time, self-care time, and your health as well, you're going to then, as you're growing, I always tell my clients that if it was possible, start creating your own SOPs as you do your work. List down how you do your work, because as you scale, as you get more clients, the moment you get your second, third client, trust me, that's like an indicator to say, I'm definitely going to need an extra pair of hands. Yes, you're going to work with vendors, but you're going to need someone who's going to be doing like the day-to-day admin as you focus on the clients, maybe client delivery, or actually looking for more clients. So I would say, depending with the nature of your business, because businesses differ from one individual and budgets differ. So if you don't want to have a budget issue, start putting aside whether it's $10 or $20 a month for that future VA that you're going to have. And then as your projects expand, then you can get a VA. So as you list down your tasks actually become the indicator to say, what type of VA would I want? If you're a lawyer, a coach, medical practitioner, or a creative director. So the tasks that you do on a day-to-day basis. So it's like you're actually moving from being the technician of your company to being the manager. So all the tasks that you used to do as the technician, because as a technician, you do everything. But then as you're moving on, the VA is going to come and become the technician and take over all those tasks you used to do from scratch: bookkeeping, invoicing, sending out emails. So yeah, so those are the indicators. As you're planning on scaling, that's the time you should have someone who comes in to take over your role, the technician role that you're doing.
So that means as soon as you start your business, you should think about a VA and save money.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then you need to wait until you know your processes very well, and you should start
Exactly.
also very early to put down your process. But of course, in a startup phase, often you don't know the processes and you need to do it yourself. But as soon as the processes are clear, then start reaching out to a VA. And now my next question comes. You explained that a VA is more than only the person who does all the tasks. Is also a personal relationship. He helps you as a strategic partner. It's also some kind of at least work-life balance, health support, like a small coach and so on. So I guess there need to be a good relationship, and you need to have a good relationship to your VA and vice versa. So can you give some factors or some ideas how you find out whether a VA is a good fit for you? Because I guess you fit for some businesses and for some businesses maybe not, and others fit for other businesses. So for both sides, it should be a good relationship, right? So what are key factors if you meet people and they tell you, I can be your VA? How can you test it, or what can you recommend to people out there? How can you find the perfect VA for you and the other way around?
Okay, so firstly, I'm going to start with the skills or the tasks that you need done. So like I explained before, when you create your SOPs, or even if you don't create your SOPs, when you look at the tasks that you want to delegate, they kind of like tell you what kind of VA, because like if you noticed, you've got some VAs that specialize, you've got social media VAs, you've got admin VAs. And so VAs tend to come, some they specialize, some are general. So if you want someone who's general, I think someone who's general tends to play in all areas of your business. They're not limited to one area. That tend to be the admin type of VAs. We tend to do everything. All parts of the business. But if you really need someone to really help you build your marketing, so maybe starting from your sales funnels, to landing pages and all that stuff, you could get a specific type of VA. And then when you get the specific type of VA, I think for you to know that this is the right VA, honestly, you have to work with them. Give yourself a trial period. I always tell my client, give yourself a 1 month trial period.
Yeah.
Give them a good onboarding process, onboard them, you know, explain to them your vision, show them your processes, what you want done, because no one will do what you want done unless you explain to them, you know. So a VA, the first month is for them to understand how you work. It's good. It's not going to be easy, I understand, but just give yourself that grace to explain to them what you need done. If you've got processes or SOPs, the better for you. If you don't, you will just be working with them for the first month, probation, then work on the communications. You guys agree on, you meet weekly, you have that weekly touchdown, you agree what needs to be done. And then just like even in a job, are they meeting like the key performance indicators, you know? Are they doing what you're asking them to do? Of course, yes, they will make mistakes because they're new. But you see, so it also goes to your values. What are your values? Your values should inform your decision. Are you someone who is very big on teamwork? Are you someone who's honest, who's transparent, you know? So your values will also inform you of the type of VA that you want to work with as well. So I think those are some of the things. Look at the skills, your needs, what do you really need done, your values, give them a probation period, as with everything, give it a chance. And referrals, look at their background. What are their referrals? What are the people that have worked with this person said? Or what are they saying about them? And yeah, you give it a go.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah, it does.
And also for medical practitioners, a VA is a good idea, isn't it?
It is because you really want someone who's setting your appointments and is maybe giving feedback and helping your clients whilst you're not there. So they do the paperwork before you even come in, which is saving you half the time. Half of the stuff is already done. By the time you come in, you're literally just focusing on what needs to be done. The client, all the paperwork, appointment setting has been already been fixed for you, you know. So I think, yeah, definitely medical practitioners definitely would really strive with the VA.
Thank you.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah. No, it was funny when you asked that first question and he said, you know, when does someone need a VA from someone that's been through it the last 4 years? I would have said immediately, without a doubt, without a doubt, because like even when I do martial arts, they say it's good to train with people better than you, weaker than you, and at your same skill level. You want all three. So when you're talking to someone, whether they work for you or not work for you, or they're an advisor or whatnot, the more you talk through it, the more you learn it, the more you learn about yourself and what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah, so definitely immediately. And they say, as a solo entrepreneur, the hardest thing to do is duplicate yourself. And having this conversation with VA is going to make that easier. Yeah, so that's
true.
Awesome answer. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Warner kind of asked my second question too, where it was like, especially on this platform and the meeting that we're having now, we're probably going to have a few medical practitioners or practitioners of telehealth today watch this meeting. But I guess you kind of answered the question for me, where like you'll help organize their schedule, you'll help get all the stuff out of the way so they can worry about just talking to the client and helping them and running their. That's good. That's good. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Okay. I think we're good. I'll book an appointment with you. I'm sure you could be an asset to almost anybody. And yeah, so I do thank you for being here. And if there's no more questions, I guess we can call this meeting a wrap. Thank you all for watching, checking the replay out. Until next week.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.